Now at 10, the pursuit of a kidnapping suspect ends in a high-speed crash. 3 children inside are hurt and rushed to the hospital. The suspect tries to get away on foot. The latest live from the scene.
Plus, confusion and panic during an ICE raid targeting workers at a popular car wash. This time, customers are caught in the chaos.
And illegal. An appeals court strikes down many of President Trump's historic tariffs, saying he overstepped his authority to impose them. So what happens now? The latest now on the News at 10. Good evening, I'm Cher Calvin.
And hi, I'm Courtney Farrell in tonight for Micah. A horrific crash in Malibu tonight involving a carjacking suspect who led police on a terrifying high-speed pursuit with 3 small children inside the stolen car.
Those children are rescued from the wreckage and rushed to the hospital. The suspect arrested after trying to escape on foot. We have live team coverage of this terrifying chain of events. Gil Levis live at Sky 5, but we begin with Rick Chambers live at the scene of the crash in Malibu. Rick?
Yeah, Cher, I think over my shoulder you can see that the scene has been cleared. Traffic is moving smoothly in all directions here. There is a great deal of broken glass in the southbound lanes of PCH, so be aware of that if you're being headed out. I think when this all began, now about 3.5 hours ago, I think we felt that this might not end well, and it certainly did not. Take a look.
This began just after 6:30 in East L.A. and appears to have been a carjacking at a 7-Eleven near Arizona and Olympic. But the car had 3 in it.
So we're approaching the California incline and PCH, so we'll see which way the vehicle will go.
Police chased the thief west over to PCH and then speeds north toward Malibu. One of the children clearly visible at times in the front seat. Eventually, though, the kidnapper started to accelerate and was flying by the time he entered the intersection at Canaan and struck a car that was waiting to turn.
Oh, no!
That car was then pushed into others, the suspect's car rolling over into a hillside. The carjacker then got out and ran, leaving the kids in the crumpled wreck. Police, though, they were able to get one boy out quickly, but had to break windows to retrieve the other 2. One baby, though, was in a car seat, an older boy moving under his own power. The suspect was eventually chased down and arrested, and paramedics began loading the kids onto gurneys, as well as the driver of another car, and then medical helicopters ferrying all of them to the hospital.
Back out here live at the scene, we had a chance to speak to a young woman who was in one of those cars that got hit. Now, she doesn't want to show her face, but her name is Erica. Listen to this.
All of a sudden, I saw the car that was being pursued crash right into the Lexus that was making a left-hand turn, and then they both crashed into me. I saw the suspect get out of the car and start running, and then I saw 2 kids getting pulled out of the vehicle. They were crying, they were scared, but I don't know if they were injured or not. I knew to stay in the car, being from LA and seeing a lot of car chases. Like, this is something my family and I have talked about, like, if this happens, what do I do? Stayed in the car, and I saw that there were highway patrol that attended to the kids right away, and so I knew they were safe, and so I just stayed in the car.
Yeah, a scary scene out here in Malibu tonight. We understand that the children are ages 9, 7, and 2. As I mentioned, all 3 were airlifted over to UCLA Medical Center, as was the 80-year-old female driver of the car that was T-boned by the suspect. At this hour, though, we don't know their conditions. In Malibu, I'm Rick Chambers. Guys, I'll throw it back to you in Hollywood.
Yeah, we certainly hope that they're okay. Rick, thank you. From the ground up to the air, Gil Levis over the crash scene in Sky 5. And Gil, that was a wild one.
It sure was, Court and Cher. You can see the intersection here has now been cleared. Everything's cleared and open as at PCH and Canyon Dune Road. This is where the suspect vehicle ended up with the 3 kids. But let's go to some tape that we shot during the chase. The vehicle going west or northbound on PCH. We noticed that the vehicle is traveling at a higher rate of speed as he continued up PCH at one point, he was going about 40 miles an hour, ramped it up to about 50 to 60 miles an hour, then reaching speeds over 70 miles an hour. And that's when, unfortunately, this crash happened here at Canaan and PCH. You can see the vehicle there in the screen as it approached, hitting the vehicle and smashing into the side of the hillside. But surprisingly, we watched that driver jump out and cowardly leave those three kids to fend for themselves and ran from the officers up the hillside. You'll see that here in just a second. You'll see that man coming out from behind the building there, running up the hillside. The CHP in chase weren't quite able to catch him at that point, but he ran up the hill through that apartment complex and then made his way into some open fields, shedding off some of his clothing, eventually ending up without a shirt on and no shoes. There he goes running across. He goes into a field barefooted and really not knowing where to go at that point, made his way up to the street called Ports Head Road, and eventually that's where the CHP caught up with him. But you can see at times the man running through the fence, through the field, not knowing where to go. At one point he got caught up in some barbed wire when he was trying to jump a chain link fence, but then continued through the neighborhood. In the meantime, the three children were left in the vehicle. Fortunately, though, the CHP had multiple units there, multiple officers there, started treating the kids and tending to the kids. But in the meantime, this man just continued to run off, leaving those kids to fend for themselves, eventually being caught there on that street and in someone's yard, I should say. But now the scene here cleared, and the children in the hospital trying to recover from their injuries. That's the latest overhead up in Sky 5. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
And we wonder what the parents of those children think as well. All right, Gil, thank you so much. In other news at 10 o'clock, federal agents raid a popular car wash in Studio City, sending workers running for cover and customers caught in the middle of the confusion.
President Trump's border czar says it's just the beginning of ramped up sweeps here in Los Angeles and across the country. Mary Beth McDade is live in Studio City with more on the raid and the workers taken into custody. MB?
Hi there, Sharon. Witnesses describe what occurred here at this car wash today as disturbing and surreal.
You're no longer a person. You're a devil.
Some customers became outraged when federal agents detained several workers at a Studio City car wash Friday morning. One worker wailed as agents detained him on the floor inside the Ventura Boulevard business.
I walk over here and I see the ICE agent threw him on the floor, twisted his arm, and the guy's like, I have my ID in the locker. I have my ID in my locker. And it was just disgraceful.
The manager became emotional as he told us what happened.
You are a bully. He's 3 times the size of this poor guy.
Meantime, security cameras captured the raid being carried out throughout the property while customers watched in disbelief.
It was surreal. All of a sudden, you hear people screaming. Not only the workers here, but customers.
J.D. Schwartz says about 20 SUVs pulled up and then agents hopped out and chased after workers. One of the workers was detained with a customer's keys on them. The manager says an agent returned them a few minutes later.
They came back and dropped back a BMW key.
Schwartz says he's been coming to this car wash for 20 years now and describes employees as hardworking people that he has grown to care about.
I'm a Jew. This is like Nazi Germany. They're just coming and taking people off the street.
This man works in the area and witnessed the operation.
I'm all for the borders and everything, but the way it's done, hardworking people, I don't want criminals here. Nowhere, you know. I got to protect my family too, so. But the way it was done, these hardworking people, I think there's got to be a different way of doing it.
The Department of Homeland Security released a statement saying U.S. Border Patrol conducted a targeted immigration enforcement operation at Studio City Hand Car Wash in Studio City, Los Angeles, that resulted in the arrest of 4 illegal aliens from Guatemala and Mexico. Lino Miguel Trinidad, a criminal illegal alien from Mexico, was previously arrested for possession of marijuana for sale.
Now, the manager here at the car wash tells us that the workers that weren't detained were too afraid to work here for the rest of the day and left, and so he had to close his business down. He's hoping that they'll return in the morning so he can reopen. For now, reporting live here in Studio City, Mary Beth McDade. Send it back to you guys in the studio.
MB, thank you. Meantime, Border Patrol agents targeted day laborers at a Home Depot in Pomona twice today. They took 4 people into custody around 8:45 this morning. The agents returned less than an hour later to arrest more workers. The raids were at least the 3rd time that Home Depot has been targeted since April. A member of the Pomona City Council says the raids are illegal and are based on racial profiling. A temporary restraining order is in effect against indiscriminate raids, but nonetheless, these raids seem to continue.
A suspect in the fatal shooting of a 13-year-old boy in Pico Rivera is in custody tonight. The suspect, 20-year-old Andres Chavez, was taken into custody yesterday afternoon. Chavez is accused of shooting and killing Saith Mendez just before midnight on August 23rd at a gas station near Whittier and Rosemead Boulevards. Authorities say Mendez was waiting for his mother to finish her shift at work when Chavez walked up to him and shot him at close range. Investigators believe the shooting was unprovoked. Chavez is now being held on $2 million bail.
The pain and sorrow continues to grip the Minneapolis community tonight, 2 days after a gunman opened fire at a Catholic school, killing 2 children and wounding 18 others as they prayed in church. As the community grieves, investigators are trying to determine a motive for the heinous attack, and they're focusing on the suspect's parents, hoping for answers.
KTLA's Samantha Cortese has the latest on the tragedy.
2 crosses now stand in memory of 2 young children murdered while praying in church.
Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him, talk to him.
The father of 8-year-old mass shooting victim Fletcher Merkel spoke at a vigil near Annunciation School and Church, where his son and 10-year-old Harper Moisky were killed when a deranged lone gunman opened fire through stained glass windows on Wednesday. The Moisky family released this statement, saying in part, "As a family, we are shattered. Words cannot capture the depth of our pain. We urge our leaders and communities to take meaningful steps to address gun violence and the mental health crisis in this country." 15 other Annunciation students between the ages of 6 and 15 are recovering today. Investigators say the shooter's mother, who once worked at Annunciation, was not cooperating, but now, quote, "there's been conversation," and she has now hired a criminal defense attorney.
According to Ms. Westman's attorney, she is completely distraught over this case. She doesn't know what to do, who to turn to, and that is why she has hired an attorney.
Samantha Cortese, KTLA 5 News.
Matthew Boyer, the Southern California bookmaker linked to Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter, has been sentenced to just over a year in federal prison. Boyer pleaded guilty to running an illegal sports betting business, money laundering, and filing false tax returns. He will serve 12 months and 1 day, followed by 2 years of supervised release. He has already paid $1.6 million in restitution to the IRS. Authorities say Boyer took wagers from more than 700 people, including Ohtani's former interpreter, who is serving a nearly 5-year sentence for bank and tax fraud.
This is the Sheriff's Department. Anybody in this complex needs to evacuate now.
Dramatic new body camera footage as sheriff's deputies help rescue residents from a burning apartment complex in Lomita. This was the scene Monday night after an apartment caught fire. Deputies fought the flames with a fire hose, and thankfully everyone got out safely. No civilians were injured. 5 deputies did have to be treated for minor smoke inhalation.
A backyard fire in San Bernardino quickly burned out of control, threatening nearby homes and triggering a second alarm response. The flames started in a shed on the 4200 block of F Street and spread toward several properties. Firefighters moved in fast, stopping the forward progress before it reached the main home on the property. Crews are now working the scene, checking for hot spots and making sure no one was inside the structures.
Good news, 2 Canadian super scoopers and their crew arrived in Los Angeles today to aid firefighting efforts here in Southern California. The Quebec 1 and Quebec 2 are amphibious planes and can each scoop up to 1,600 gallons of water from nearby lakes or the ocean to help fight wildfires. LA County leased the planes from the Canadian province of Quebec to provide critical aerial support as we head into peak fire season. Officials have leased the planes every year since 1994. Turning now to a live look at LAX, where travelers are heading out to their Labor Day weekend destinations.
The TSA projects that more than 17 million people will travel during the holiday period from Thursday to Wednesday, and this year travelers could save some money. AAA says prices have dropped for flights and hotel stays from the same time last year. Domestic round-trip flights are down 6%, averaging about $720 a ticket, and hotel rates are down 11%, and car rental costs are down 3%. We spoke to some travelers making their way through LAX earlier today.
I thought it was going to be crazy busy, being that it's a holiday, and it's not.
We're early just because we thought that there would be a lot in security, but really not too bad thus far.
We're on our way to New York.